Welcome back. GOP leaders in both the House and Senate moving on a reworked immigration enforcement bill. That's the reconciliation. The Senate budget panel expected to meet tomorrow ahead of a voting session on Thursday into Friday. The Senate parliamentarian has already struck down the $1 billion in funding for the president's ballroom that was tucked into the reconciliation bill. Parliamentarian says take it out. And North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis says he is not going to support the package if it includes any ballroom funding. That's Tom Tillis. Congress also remains split on a third reconciliation to address Pentagon funding and perhaps fraud, Save America Act, with an August deadline looming there. Kansas Senator Roger Marshall was here yesterday talking about all of it. Watch. There's a little bit of a debate within the Senate and the House, actually, about whether or not you'll be able to pull off a third reconciliation bill before you leave for the August recess. How do you see that?
Well, it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think our focus should be on the cost of living. We have a package of bills that would drive down the cost of health care. We should be focused on the cost of housing, on child care, on property insurance, those things that went up 50% under Joe Biden. That should be our focus. It'll be an uphill battle, but we're going to certainly put our shoulder into it and do our best.
Joining me now is New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Congressman, it's great to see you. As always, I want to talk about your upcoming meeting with President Trump in Rockland County. But first, your reaction on this reconciliation plan. We spoke with your colleague in the House, Andy Ogles, and then we spoke with Senator James Lankford on it. And here's what they said about a potential third reconciliation plan in the works. Watch.
I don't think there'll be a reconciliation 3. I think ultimately we're going to run out of time. So reconciliation 2 is incredibly important to the economy, getting our economy going, getting interest rates and inflation down. So there's a lot here that's at stake, and we need the Senate to do, quite frankly, do their job.
Well, yeah, but hold on, because your reconciliation 2 is just going to be skinny, right? You're just going to fund CBP and ICE and have $1 billion in there for the ballroom. So
I think this is really going to be our last opportunity as we go into the summer to get major funding done. That again, that goes through some sort of appropriations process. And this idea that there'll be a reconciliation 3, I'm skeptical. So let's focus on the opportunity at hand.
You've got Mike Johnson in the House pushing to finish a third package before the House's recess in August, which would mean you got to get that done by July 23rd. Do you agree that that's unlikely?
That is hard to do, quite frankly. That may be possible in the House to be able to get that done, but it takes a month for us to be able to do it in the Senate, to go through all the legislative hurdles that you have to go through to be able to do it. We still have 12 appropriation bills. We have a farm bill. We have a highway bill. We're still dealing with the housing bill to try to get that finished up as well. We have the current reconciliation that we're on. We have nominations that we're working through the process on. So there's a lot on the legislative calendar. It is not impossible to do a reconciliation 3.0 in November and December. That is more likely.
Congressman, what do you think happens here?
I don't disagree with many of the comments that were made. The fact is, we're going to be ending session in July and then come back briefly in September, and then you're into the election season in October. So it's going to be very difficult to get a third reconciliation bill done in that time frame, as Senator Lankford pointed out, with especially the Senate hurdles in doing so, including the birdbath that takes up a lot of time in the process. But the fact is, to me, there are a lot of things we can and should be focused on, including getting this housing bill across the finish line, cutting red tape, increasing supply. We're 8 million units underbuilt nationwide. So getting a bipartisan housing bill across the finish line is of importance. In addition, there's a massive permitting reform bill. We're obviously focused on energy and oil prices in particular, given the situation in the Middle East. But the fact is, we want to increase domestic production of energy in this country. We are not reliant on Iran. Other parts of the world are, including China, but we are not. And so we should be focused on what we can do in the interim to increase domestic production, cut red tape, make it easier to site these large-scale energy projects, not just oil and gas, but nuclear and renewables. And so getting a permitting reform bill done that provides certainty in the process and shortens the time frame is critical. That is something that we can and should do before we leave Washington for the November elections. In addition, Maria, the appropriations. We have a lot of appropriations bills to go through. I frankly believe that can be far more impactful towards the November elections than doing a third reconciliation in many respects. And I think it's something we got to get done. The Farm Bill, the NDAA. So there's a lot on our plate, and I think we need to focus on what can be done as opposed to what we hope to get done.
Well, I mean, look, you've got to do all of this in the prism of, okay, the elections are X number of months away, and the November elections could be a game changer. I mean, you're talking about all the things that are your priorities that are the president's agenda, right? Deregulation, tapping into energy, getting that permitting done. Will you be able to articulate all of this? I mean, I know that you're going to be with President Trump to visit Rockland County, New York, this Friday. It's going to be a big deal. This is an area that falls under your district, and you're going to be with the president, and you're going to be able to talk about what your priorities are. But in the coming months, if in fact you don't communicate this and all of this resonates with the people, if you lose the majority, does the agenda stop? Does the president's agenda stall out if in fact the Democrats get the majority in November?
Well, no question, because the Democrats will spend 2 years focused on impeachment and investigations and just opposing anything that the president seeks to do simply because it's Donald Trump. The Democrats haven't offered a single idea of what they would do other than oppose Trump. From my vantage point, I have been laser focused on the economy, on the cost of living. I sit on financial services. I've been hyper-focused on housing for a reason. Housing is the biggest driver of costs for Americans. If you look at New York, the fact is the average housing price in my district went from $700,000 to $1.1 million in 4 years in measure because interest rates rose. The cost of a mortgage went up significantly under Joe Biden. We have already cut that in half. But we need to increase supply, and that means you have to cut regulation. You have to make it easier for homeowners and builders to get access to capital. And these are all critical issues.
We got a builder in the White House, right? I mean, President Trump knows how to do this, and you're going to be with him on Friday. Does New York leadership understand that? I mean, Mayor Zoran Mamdani met with J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon. Then he had a meeting with Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon. J.P. Morgan said this: they had a constructive meeting where they discussed the importance of companies and government working together to help the communities around the U.S. and make the city more competitive. But Mamdani's talking about increasing property taxes.
Yeah, but Maria, here's the reality. J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs now have more employees in Dallas, Texas than they do New York because of New York's onerous tax burden and business climate, which is a complete disaster. Zoran Mamdani and Kathy Hochul are making New York unaffordable for families across the board. The utility costs have gone up 58% since New York shut down Indian Point. 58%. So the fact is, we need to rebuild and reopen Indian Point. I have called for that. That provides 25% of the power supply for New York's, energy. That is critical. The fact is, I provided tax relief by lifting the cap on salt. Zoran Mamdani and Kathy Hochul want to raise taxes on New Yorkers. It is a disaster. We can win the midterms, but we have to be laser focused on the cost of living.
Well, for sure. You got a good story to tell. Most people agree with what you're saying. The question is, can you articulate it? And can it resonate?
We can, and we will.
And the president will help you do that Friday?
Yes, he will. He'll be in Rockland County, first time in 50 years, a president coming there. It is the district, the county that moved the most for him from 2020 to 2024.
Wow. All right. We'll be watching that, Congressman. Great to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Lawler in New York. We'll be right back.